The Planter's Patent. Picture Brody Draper, a threadbare weaver from the fog-shrouded lanes of London, where every loom's clack echoed the grind of unpaid debts and a family teetering on the edge of the poorhouse. In 1609, as tales of golden shores across the sea filtered through the taverns, Brody saw not just escape, but salvation in a scrap of paper, a share in the Virginia Company, a promise of land, profit, and permanence, all for a modest stake. He could not foresee how that patent, meant to build an empire, would instead unravel his world, gripped by forces as unseen and unyielding as the tides. Brody Draper stepped toward fortune, only to stumble into the invisible hand. Brody Draper hunched over his ledger in a dim Philpott Lane garret, the air thick with wool dust and despair. His wife, Mary, mended nets by candlelight while their two boys scavenged scraps in the street. Debts to the miller and landlord mounted like winter frost, £12 owed with no relief in sight. "We'll lose the roof," Mary whispered one eve, as Brody stared at a broadside tacked on the wall. "Virginia, the new world, riches in tobacco and trade. Join the adventurers, £12 tenths for a share, and reap dividends from paradise." Sir Thomas Smythe's Virginia Company had launched its first stock subscription that very year, shares snapped up by merchants and gentry alike. Brody, no noble, scraped together the sum from pawned tools and a desperate loan from kin. At the company's headquarters, Smythe's own bustling home, he clutched his patent, a crisp charter granting him membership and the dream of 100 acres across the ocean. "A sound venture, good sir," Smythe's clerk assured him, eyes gleaming like polished silver. "The king himself backs us. Send a tenant, gain more land. Half the profits after harvest. No risk too great for such reward." He believed it. In his mind, the contract was ironclad. Invest now, emigrate later, trade the colony's bounty for coin that would buy a freehold in England. He sold his last bolt of cloth and bought passage for a cousin as his first tenant, earning an extra 50 acres on paper. By 1610, shares traded at £25. Brody's holding doubled in whispers alone. Hope bloomed. He even entered one of the 1612 lotteries, wagering a shilling on a dream of silver platters for the winner. "The company has spent £80,000 already on Jamestown," broadsides boasted. "Your stake builds an empire, and your fortune." But the invisible hand tightened its grip across the sea. Brody's cousin sailed with the third supply in 1609, joining planters who arrived to mud and malaise. Jamestown festered. Fever claimed half. Indians harried the rest. Letters trickled back, scarce, ink-smeared pleas for more provisions. Brody poured in another £5 for tools and seeds, chasing the incentive, profit sharing from 1616 onward, land for every soul transported. By 1611, a second subscription swelled the company's coffers, but Brody's family hungered as his savings ebbed. "Patience," he told Mary. "The patent promises half the yield. Smythe's council governs it fair. Corporate democracy, they call it." Years blurred into desperation. Over 5,000 souls shipped to Virginia by 1625, yet only 2,600 endured. Attrition from starvation, skirmishes, betrayal. Brody's cousin vanished into the lost colony whispers, his land grant a phantom. Shares plummeted, lotteries yielded no prize, just tales of tailors clutching empty hopes. The company spent up to £200,000 by 24, but profits, a mirage. Brody petitioned shareholder meetings, voice lost among 1,000 members demanding answers from Sir Edwin Sandys. The planters are poor stock, critics muttered, but Brody knew the truth. The wilderness devoured dreams, and the contract's fine print, endless calls for capital, no liability limit, bound him like chains. In 1624, the king's quo warranto seized the charter. Brody, aged and broken, stood amid the ruins of his hopes. His £12 had bought not land, but exile from security. Mary took in washing, the boys begged. The invisible hand had guided the company's grand design, but for Brody, it crushed the small. Brody Draper sought a patent to plant roots in fertile soil, only to harvest thorns of loss and longing. He learned that in the grand ledger of colonization, the little man's share is but ink on parchment, eroded by distance, disease, and the merciless math of empire. The Virginia Company's contracts wove a web of promise, yet snared the hopeful in threads of ruin. For every Smythe who schemed from London halls, countless Drapers faded into footnotes. Brody returned to his loom, poorer in purse and spirit, a stark reminder that the market's invisible grasp lifts the mighty and buries the rest. A tale etched in the annals of ambition with the invisible hand.